Patricia. How are you doing tonight? I'm glad to hear that. I'm doing good, thank you. Just waiting for this winter storm that's supposed to be coming through tonight and through tomorrow. We're supposed to get roughly 12 inches of snow up in our area I think by tomorrow night or Tuesday morning. Yeah, that's what I say. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm still working on the layout. It's almost like it's a never done thing. Hey, Steven. How you doing tonight, brother? Good. Just living life, I guess. The building right there, that's that new oil stand that I got. That's the new one from Menards. Oh, this is a Menards building. Oh, thank you. do have Lionel cranes. I don't have any MT8s, but I have mostly Lionel, and I have one Menards locomotive. Lionel's good. Lionel's been the most trusted locomotive out there. I mean, that's also a debate with those people that like MT8, Atlas. It's just preference. Oh, that's awesome, Jacob. You gonna leave that up for a while then? I definitely agree with you. Wow, the goat. Lionel all the way, in my opinion. Oh, that's awesome. Oh man, I bet that is a beautiful sight. I've seen pictures, man. Those are some beautiful locomotives and cars. That's awesome. Nice. So what's stopping you from building a layout right now? Ah, gotcha. Understandable. What gauges do you have? Do you have L gauge, or do you dabble in like, all the way down from like T, Z, N? Yeah, that could be. Could be. I know it's kind of like a therapy and relaxation for me. I don't know what it is. The clickety clack of the cracks, the trays. And I don't use padding underneath my tracks because I actually like the heavy sound that you get with these locomotives when they go over the tracks. Yeah, actually, I measured it out the other day. It's a total of 13, I think it's, 13 and a half feet long now by 10 foot wide, approximately. Here, I'm going to take off the camera for a sec, show you guys how I extended it. Here's the new extension over here. A couple of my live videos, I've actually gone from this side, coming from here, so you can tell, and the camera was just sitting over there. Oh, nice. Okay. So you kind of collect the HO and G gauge, but you'd really like to run your own gauge. That's really cool. Oh, it's yeah, definitely. But I still want to make it bigger though. You know me, my motto is go big or go home, and so I definitely would like to make it, I don't know, all the way back to that wall and then come back. So probably another 8 feet, 9 feet to that wall, and then straight over. Yeah, I mean, I can actually only take up half because, I still have everything else for storage that I gotta, actually take care of. I've been getting lazy lately. Go ahead, put this right back up here. There we go. So, but yeah, I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. I got those new switches from Menards. They're working out really well. I still have to screw the track in, get it set. And then there's a couple other buildings I'm looking to get through Menards. Oh man, yeah, you don't want to take that locomotive on it. Yeah, with anything less than an 072 curve. Some of those you can't. Yeah, wow, that's a big one. Now I'd like that, something like that. But then of course I'd have to go out and, like you said, go out and get the 072 curves. Anything less will just derail on it. 2.2. Now, I've only been in O gauge for going on 6 years. And before that, I used to do N scale and HO. And I tell you right now, out of all three of them, I really like the O gauge better. Yes, it's bigger, it takes up more room. But I got, fat little stubby fingers, so trying to work on things is harder for N scale and HO. So, I mean, that's why I like O gauge. And then, of course, the 7.5 gauge. Lucky. I'm jealous, Jacob. I really that is awesome. Congratulations. And Merry Christmas to everybody. Hopefully everybody's getting ready for the new year. Yeah, I agree, Jacob. O gauge is it definitely is. It can definitely take a lot more of a feeding. I had when I actually got my layout going, there was a couple times that I took the corners too fast and they fell right off the table. And my table sits up about 31 inches from the floor, so. That's a pretty hard fall, and nothing broke on them. So I know you couldn't really do that with N scale or O gauge or HO. Good. Don't get me wrong. I like my winters. I really do. But I cannot wait for spring to work on that backyard road. I am getting so excited. I have roughly, I don't remember exactly, but I have, let's say roughly about 400 feet of track to put out and connect before, the main line's done. And then I have that switch to put in. But I am getting so worked up for that this winter. I will be doing a video on James's car sometime after January 1st. Maybe I'll have a special guest on that one. But I got the rivets for it. I got the interior, the woods for it. It's all I gotta do is just finish some outer work to it. Put the end cap on, rivet it up, and then I can start working on the interior. And I did finally make a decision on the lights that I'm going to go with on that. I'm going to do the two 5mm blinking lights down at the bottom, and I'm going to do the one single 10mm light above the window there on the back of the car. I think that's just going to really set that car off. Right. Oh, definitely. Oh, I have. Actually, there's been a couple times I've fallen asleep up here, just with the trains running. So I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh, didn't realize, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I could just, the sound doesn't bother me. It's like you said, it's just like therapeutic. When I was growing up, I used to live on the east side of Monroe, and I lived in between 2 sets of railroad tracks. And I mean, I slept like a baby every time a train came through. I miss those days sometimes. isn't that cool? I mean, you can get used to it. I mean, actually, one of my siblings never got used to it. Um, but it's just, I don't know, it's just so calming, it's relaxing. People think it's just a noisy machine that just rattles through their towns, you know. Okay, fine, that's their thought. But, alright, I'm gonna go ahead and move the camera, get a different angle, guys. This far. So you guys might want to change up on that. Yeah, I've seen a couple of his episodes. He's really got a good eye for detail. I could never be that good. I guess that's just a talent, major talent. I mean, yeah, that's, oh, thank you, Mindy. I only have the remote for this new line coming up right here. That's the new Menards one I got, and all my other ones are conventional. I use the 180 transformer, which I have four of those. I have two of them with the auxiliary output, so I can run the lights and stuff. But yeah, I run mainly conventional. I had to have the Sioux line. One of my favorite lines. So I don't mind switching it back and forth between the remote and conventional every once in a while. Lab Lane 1981. Hello. How are you doing tonight? Hopefully everybody is having a good time. Just listening, watching trains. This is usually what I do every night in the winter for about 3 to 4 hours. Just run trains. Nice. I heard with some of the remote ones, you can still use conventional, but you got to get like the Z275 transformer, or you got to hook up with the new. I really haven't kept up with the new remote stuff because I'm more a conventional guy myself. But isn't there a way to connect the two, and that way you can leave the conventional on and run the remote at the same time? Because I'm kind of having a problem with that right now. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for showing up and watching for a few minutes. I appreciate it. Yes, I am. Thank you. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll have to look into it. Thank you. Welcome, Lab Lane. Oh, nice. Glad to see we have an OG here tonight. I've been playing with trains ever since I could remember. A little boy, my dad always had an N-scale or HO set. And then after he passed in 2019, I decided to go to O gauge. And then 7.5 gauge. So I love being back into it. It's definitely a fulfilling hobby. That's amazing. Most people don't. Most people just, get rid of it after a while. Wow, that's amazing. Hey, I welcome anybody. I know I'm a nerd. I'm a train nerd, and I don't care. 46 years old, I still play with trains. You know what? Some of the best times of my life. I have Mr. J, he will always come up here with me, and we will always work on the layout, run trains. I mean, he's definitely one of my biggest supporters here, and his love, my love for it, his love for it, just face lights up every time I love it. Well, thank you, Jake. I appreciate it. You have a good night. Be safe out there. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll be doing some more lives, and I got more videos coming up about the 7.5 gauge. So stay tuned. Nice. Welcome to have you, J Byers 84. Welcome to the Nerd Club, apparently. Hi, Andre 7733. How you doing tonight? Same here. Oh, I'm good. Thank you. Well, good to hear that. Glad to hear. Just running trains. That's usually what I do. Just got this new part of my layout. Finally got it boarded up and stuff, and getting it kind of set up so I can finish setting it in and getting the grass and dirt and everything I need to go in. Nice. Well, you came to the right place, Andre 7733. We love trains here. Sioux Line, yes. Sioux Line and DT and I are my two tops. My grandfather and my mom, my grandfather, my mom's dad, he actually worked for DT and I up until switch over in, I think it was, 83 when they switched over to GT. I don't quote me, I'm not for sure on that, but apparently worked there for like 40 some years. Oh, nice. What gauge may I ask, or what scale? Is it a ride-on or G gauge or? I don't remember what that Sioux Line was. I'll have to look that back up in the manual. I thought it was part of the F line, but I don't know. I'm still, learning through most of my diesels and steams. But yeah, I do believe it's part. Would be part of that F line. Okay, so probably G gauge. That's cool. G gauge is really nice because you can put that indoors, outdoors. You don't have to worry about like with O gauge because it's the 3-rail. Yeah, I mean I heard you can put it outside. You gotta be careful. I just don't want to risk it. Now, for those that you don't, if you're just joining and you don't know, I also have a 7.5 gauge in my backyard that I do videos on. If you check out the channel, um, you see how far I've got, new things I've done, which not bad. I started laying track in 2021, and almost done. I got 400 feet left to go and one switch. All right, take it easy, Andre. 7733. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Be safe out there. Thank you, Sig. I just expanded it a couple weeks ago. This would be the furthest point out, and it goes all the way back that way. Good night, Mandy. Nice having you. Thank you for stopping by. I have two sets running. On the inner track, I have my GP40 that's a Southern, and then I have my Sioux line on the outer line. Layout's approximately 14 by 12, I do believe. Last time I measured it. Thank you, Jay Byers. I really appreciate that, man. I hope you enjoy the content. I'm always up for comments and suggestions. Put a little bit more smoke fluid. Oh my god, it's flying out smoke fluid. Using that EQ caboose. I use it for my steam locomotive as well. Northern Michigan. Up in my garage. Oh, same here. Same here. Any gauge, any scale. Oops. Yeah. Kind of. I mean, it's upstairs in my garage. Thank you very much, by the way. I appreciate that. But yeah, it's kind of the upstairs of the garage is kind of my man cave. I got my train room. I got my music room. So. I used to try. I'm sorry, I just saw your question right now. Rockfan 3479. I usually I don't run my locomotives more than an hour at a time. Even sometimes 45 minutes. They do start to get really warm at that point. I usually, so yeah, I mean, basically anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour is usually how long I'll run mine. That also depends on the locomotive too. Some of the cheaper starter sets can't go more than probably a couple hours before you burn them out or so, running them straight out. I did that for one of my first sets that I got. I don't know, I ran it for about 2.5, 3 hours and then just the locomotive burn out. I'm going to call it a night. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It was nice chatting with everybody. Hope you enjoyed the layout, the train. I'll be back with some more live low gauge later on. Everybody have a good night.